Time for the 49ers Rush Podcast.
Coming in at number 49 on the 49ers roster countdown in 2023, offensive tackle Jaylon Moore. Going into his third year, he's been up and down. Niners have wanted to move him around to the right tackle, guard spot, all these different spots. I think for this year, they have him penciled in as the backup for Trent Williams. Want to give credit to Josh, the 49ers guru, executive producer of today's show. And as we dive into Jaylon Moore, number 76, he's interesting because he comes out of Central Michigan, 6'4", 310. So right off the bat, you're like, okay, a little short for a tackle. Then you get to his hands. He's got some of the biggest hands in the NFL, over 11 inches, top 95% of all offensive linemen. But then his arms, he got short arms, 33 and 3/8 inch arms. That's 22 percentile of offensive tackles. That's an issue. But in Shanahan's system, he doesn't put a premium on that because of the zone scheme. Jaylon Moore's 25 years old, 5.2 40-yard dash. That's fine. 1.8 10-yard. That's not great. 32 percentile. He's a little slow, little sluggish, but explosive lower body. Had a 30-inch vertical at 310 pounds. That's top 78 percentile. And he's strong as hell. 27 bench press reps. Top 70% of all tackles. So you've got this guy that, by certain metrics, a lot of teams in the NFL wouldn't even draft him. Not even on their board. But for the 49ers in their scheme, it does kind of fit. Now, whenever they drafted him, they said, we're going to move him to guard. We think that's his best spot. They did. Didn't work out. Moved him to right tackle. Didn't work out. And they basically have come out and, without saying it, said, Jaylon Moore's the left tackle, and he's a left tackle only. So he backed up Trent Williams last year. Colton McKivitz got one of those games against the Rams as well. And so it just kind of seems like, man, he's just, we're going to keep you at left tackle. We're going to see what you can do just focusing on this one position. And they've trusted him. They really have. Now, if you look at the metrics and you plug that into mock draftable, these are the comps that come up, even though there's not a high percentage match. So a lot of times whenever I go over these, a lot of times the matches are 98%, 95%. There's no high percentile match of offensive tackle in the NFL to Jaylon Moore. Ryan Ramsack, who's a really good player, 80%. Dalton Reisner, 77%. Tyler Steen, one of the offensive tackles out of Alabama this year that got drafted, who the Niners met with not once but twice, 77%. So not a clear, there's not a lot of guys that have done it with his build and his makeup. Doesn't mean he can't, just hasn't really happened a lot in the NFL currently. Another Detroit player, Ambry Thomas, there's lots of guys, Samuel Womack, lots of these Detroit guys. He went to Consortium College Prep, the Cougars, and was a finance major, which I love. Eventually settled. He was a 2-star recruit and went to Western Michigan. And it's been interesting. And so, again, I want to constantly pull back to this. In last year's roster countdown that we did, he was 34th. Now he's 49th. That's a 15-spot drop. Why? Well, he was in position to start right tackle at the beginning of the season. We didn't know what was going to happen with Mike McGlinchey coming off the quad injury. That was open. It was between him and Colton McKivitz and Daniel Brunskill maybe. There was a high chance that Jaylon Moore was going to be starting week 1. Well, the good news was McGlinchey came back healthy and he was fine. And Jaylon Moore's value, or perceived value perhaps is a better term, has really taken a lot of hits. Colton McKivitz passed him clearly, and the guard movement seems to have died completely. And so it's interesting. But the journey that Jaylon Moore has gotten here, it's impressive. You know, if you look at just prior to Western Michigan, he played offensive and defensive line as well as tight end. And he was named Detroit News All-Metro Second Team, Detroit Magazine preseason top 31 prospect, all these different things. And, you know, tight end was what he thought he was going to be. Then he goes, you know, up there to Western Michigan with Coach P.J. Fleck, and they transitioned him from tight end to offensive line his senior year. And Fleck referred to him as a, quote, hidden gem, and they just have completely just bought in to, you know, this transition, and it's worked out well for him. Because it was funny because he was too athletic, you know, he was too big to be a tight end, so they wanted to use his athleticism at the tackle spot. But then they were saying, man, His body type says more guard, so then the Niners even moved him to guard. Well, that didn't fit, so it's kind of a Goldilocks. Maybe this is just quite right at left tackle only, which is just weird. Just right side hasn't worked out well for him. Now, he's a 5th-round pick, number 155 overall in the 2021 draft, going into his 3rd year, and he's played sparingly. Okay, he's got 330 career NFL snaps, 97 on special teams. But if we just look at last year, okay, let's just look at 2022. Jaylon Moore had 188 offensive snaps, 93 run, 95 pass. Again, pretty balanced. 65.9 overall PFF grade, 67.6 run blocking. That's where he's finding his success. 55.6 pass blocking. That's rough. You can't be below that 60% threshold in one of the most, how do you say this? Not that pass blocking's ever easy, but one of the most offensive line friendly schemes in the NFL. The Shanahan scheme with Chris Forster and all that stuff, like, it's weird. This year, he allowed 1 sack, 1 quarterback hit, 3 hurries, 5 pressures. Not great. Whenever you're looking at 95 pass block snaps, 5 pressures, not great. So that comes out to a 95.3 pass efficiency. Again, that means 1 out of, you're talking 5% of the plays, he's going to give up a pressure. That's not good. I know 95 sounds high. It's not. It's really, really not. That's 1 out of 20, right? I think my math is correct there. I could be off. But that is just not going to do it. Now, if you look at his career snaps, 167 pass snaps for his career, 167 run snaps for his career. Again, right down the middle. There's some special team snaps in there too. 3 sacks allowed, 5 quarterback hits allowed, 5 hurries, 13 pressures, 94.7 efficiency. Not good. 5 career starts, 24 games played in, and it's just like, come on, man. Do you just want to be a career backup? Now, I understand. Is filling in for Trent Williams an ideal role? No. You're filling in for one of the best, if not the best offensive player in the NFL that's not a quarterback. That's hard. But that doesn't mean you can keep putting up these numbers if he wants this job. Because right now, I would say his job is the backup left tackle, maybe. If Trent Williams got hurt, would the 49ers move Matt Pryor, who's backing up the right tackle? Would they move him over? We haven't used a true swing tackle as a backup in quite a while. Or, even behind him, breathing down his neck, who the Niners love and Trent Williams loves, is undrafted free agent Leroy Watson, who has looked better and better and just constantly improving and has elite athleticism and arm length, things that Jaylon Moore doesn't have. So, we'll see. I want to see Jaylon Moore become what I thought he could be. I thought he was going to play guard, but they got him at left tackle. If he can show what he can do this year, there will be an opening at left tackle in the future. Whether it's 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, it's coming. Trent Williams is the best, and I hope he plays forever. But he flirted with retirement last year. Niners win the championship. I think he sails off into the sunset, which breaks my heart to say, but let's just be honest here. And if that's the case, there will be an open competition for that left tackle job, which I fully expect the Niners to spend a first-round pick or a second-round pick on that left tackle spot, but not if Jaylon Moore can get his stuff together and prove, hey, I can be that guy long-term. Can he beat Trent Williams? No, nobody can beat Trent Williams. But can he be a serviceable backup like Colton McKivitz and then gets the chance to move into the starting position and you can hold your own? Because if the Niners can save money and keep somebody like Jaylon Moore or Leroy Watson all long-term at left tackle, that's going to allow you to spend top-tier money on a lot of these other all-star players that you already have, and you can keep that roster moving. So we'll see. Excited to see what Jaylon Moore brings this year because it's been shaky. If he takes a step up, could provide the 49ers with a lot of financial stability in the future.